I have been asked to speak about the past and present condition about the Shrauta studies. Uh, Assuming that there are some people in the audience attendees who need some basic introduction about the Shrauta. What is Shrauta? I am going to introduce what is Shrauta in a brief, in short time. As you can see, athako dharmaha. This is the question, and the answer is किन्तस्य प्रयोजनमिति चेत् उच्यते यागादिरेव धर्मः तल्लक्षणं वेदप्रतिपाद्यः प्रयोजनवदर्थो धर्म इति अर्थसंग्रह in अर्थसंग्रह लोगाक्षि भास्कर says this. The basic word yajna has come from the yaj dhatu. Yaj deva puja sangati karana daneshu. This is the meaning of the word yajna. Here he is saying that the yagadireva dharma, this is the Mimamsaka's view, that yagadi, yajna, deva puja, sangatikarana and dana, these are the dharma, activities of the main activities of the dharma. Apart from that, we get many things in Mahabharata and all that. Dhatikshama, Damasteyam, Shaucham Indriya Nigraha, these are all well known to everybody. Based on this drishti, Siddhanta has been established, and based on the Siddhanta, the practice is going on. And in the karma, in the yaga karma, as Nagaraji explained in the morning, tatra yagadireva dharmaha, in the karma, we have nitya karma, naimittik karma, prayashitta karma, and kamya karma, and all. Many people think that all the subjects are different subjects. For example, physics, chemistry, maths, biology, all these subjects are different. Similarly, Indians or Hindus also think that Veda is different, rituals is different, Purana is different, Bhagavad is different. Like that, dissection has happened in the name of education in our minds. But in Bharatiya view, we see everything collectively. So in that way, if we have to understand the Veda, we have to look at it collectively. For example, Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chanda, Nirukta, Jyotisha, Kalpa. These are the 6 limbs of the Veda, Shadangas. Without these Vedangas, we cannot understand the Veda. We cannot cherry pick some mantra and some sentence and look at the meaning of it and understand the meaning and the essence of it. We have to cover all the limbs. We have to collectively study everything, all Shadangas. Then only we will be able to understand the Veda. This is the Indian way of understanding things. All interconnected shastras. Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chanda, Nirukta, Jyotisha, and Kalpa are interconnected shastras to the Vedas. Unless we study all of them, we cannot understand the Veda. In the 6 limbs, Kalpa is the 6th limb of the Veda. In Kalpa, we have something called Shrauta Sutras, Grihya Sutras, Shulba Sutras, and many sutras are there. Mainly, there are 2 divisions. One is Shrauta Kalpa and another one is Grihya Kalpa. Today, I am going to introduce the Shrauta Kalpa only. I am leaving everything else. So, Shrauta means that which has been prescribed in the Shruti for lame understanding. In Shrauta Sutras, we have Agnishtoma, Atagnishtoma, Atratra, Vajapaya, Paundarika, Aupasanas, Ishtis, Darshapurnamasas. Everything has been codified and prescribed through sutras. Nagaraji, sorry for my English. I don't have practice of speaking in English.
No, not a problem.
Okay. I rarely get opportunity to speak in English. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, the Agni Manthana is happening, the Soma Rasa is being prepared, and the Uktya is happening, and these are the Yajnapatras. Yajamana is chanting, the Hota is there. This is Yajamana Patni, and here you can see a police constable stopping a yajna in Kerala. And on the right, you can see Mr. Jnanendra, Sri Jnanendra ji performing the Ishti recently. I am sharing these pictures for those who haven't seen a Shrauta Yajna in their lives. Otherwise, they don't get an idea what I'm speaking about. That's why I'm sharing this. And the final slide is Kalova Karanam Rajnyo Rajava Kala Karanam Itite Samshayo Mabhut Raja Kalasya Karanam. This is said by Bhishma in Mahabharata. He's saying Raja is the Karana for Kalam. Just a minute. I have to stop the sharing, I think. Okay, I have stopped the sharing. Bhishma says Raja is the Karana for the Kala. For the present situation, what is the reason? It is mainly the Raja or the policies. So if I go back to the pre-Mughal era, people used to learn these Shrauta Yajnas, these procedures from their fathers, mainly from their fathers in Agraharas, in their houses, rarely in Gurukulas. Because I'm saying rarely in Gurukulas because in our Indian concept of Gurukula, house is the real Gurukula. Only for higher studies and research and other things, we go to some ashrama or Gurukula. Our children go to some Pathshala. So we Vedikas don't have an idea of big Gurukulas and everything. Only the Buddhist and all other people started constructing big Gurukulams like Nalanda and all, and they got destroyed by the invaders. But the Agraharas and the houses were intact. Therefore, the Shrauta study continued. It didn't stop. But when Lord Macaulay came, or East India Company in 1813, they took over the lands of public lands in the Land Reforms Act. They took over the lands of temples and societies and everything. Then these Agraharas and temples got affected by that. And when the Indians applied for the Privy Council for review of that decision, East India Company agreed to pay 1 lakh rupees compensation every year for vernacular education. When they wanted to pay 1 lakh rupees as a compensation for acquiring the lands of Bharat, they didn't know where to pay, whom to pay. So they consulted a legal advisor. His name was Macaulay. He advised that there should be a proper survey of institutions for payment. So then they did a survey called Education Survey of India in 1820. In that survey, they covered at least 6 lakh villages, and they found that there was no village without an educational facility. 6 lakh villages. It means 100% villages had educational facility for everyone in the village. This Shrauta training used to happen in houses or in temples. This survey took place after a decade since the land was taken over. It means in a decade, it might have been destroyed in a large quantity. Still, there were 6 lakh Gurukulams, 6 lakh Pathshalas were there in villages. After that, the Macaulay introduced English Education Act in 1835 and started giving permissions only to the Christian missionaries. They didn't give permission for Indians to start schools. Start schools, admit only Brahmins, anglicize them. This was his method. So after a decade, they started giving permission for Indians to start schools. This is how he targeted Brahmins and tried to anglicize them and moved them to join East India Company as clerks. In other hand, the Christian missionaries, evangelical missionaries were trying to do the anti-Brahmanism activities. They were portraying them as villains in different ways. Here, Macaulay pulled them into a Christian missionary education and tried to make them clerks. This is how, in both ways, the Brahmins got corrupted or driven away from their actual education strategically. And you might have seen many people in the past considered becoming a clerk in East India Company was a prestigious thing for them, in Brahmins families also. And studying Vedas and all was inferior thing. This was the brainwashing or social status. Why I am saying this is, why today people are not going and studying the Vedas and Shrauta Parampara is, it takes at least 12 to 15 years. I myself have studied for 15 years. I have never been to school. That's why my English is very much broken. So after spending, sorry, you are muted. You are muted, Nagaraji. Nagaraji, you are muted. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you are lucky, I said.
Yes. Now I realized that. But at the time when I was in my early 20s, I considered myself as cursed one. Now I have realized that it was a fortune. Why I am saying this? After spending 12 to 15 years in study of Vedas and Shrauta Parampara and Shadangas and all, we will be considered as uneducated ones from the system, by the system. And system is fine. If the society doesn't think in that way, it wouldn't have been a problem for anybody. I'm not speaking in my personal level. I have met many people. I know hundreds of Vedic scholars who feel inferior about themselves, because it is the social status which matters. For example, a fruit vendor earns at least 2 to 3 lakh rupees per month, but his son doesn't want to become a fruit seller. He does a BBA or MBA and goes and joins a supermarket as a store manager. He gets only 15,000 rupees and an identity card, but he has a social status and his father doesn't have. So many people think that we should pay Vedic Pandits and they will study. No, actually a temple priest earns more than a software engineer. But the temple priest doesn't want his son to become temple priest. Money is not the problem. People are earning in lakhs. Brahmins are also, Pandits are also earning in lakhs. They are not craving for the money. But still they are not studying the Shrauta. Why? Because there is no social status. Coming back to the history, I spoke about the past conditions. Let's come to the current condition. Currently, what is happening is, general perception of the masses is that the Swamijis and Mathadipatis and our spiritual organizations are protecting the dharma. That's a fact. But what's happening is, in those mathams, they don't have a Gurukulam, they don't have Shastra studies, they don't have Shrauta studies, they don't have Vedic studies. Some mathams or some institutions may have, but they use those institutions or those pathshalas as trophies to attract more funds. They don't care about the qualities of those pathshalas, don't care about the studies. They don't even know how many students are studying in their own matham and what are they studying. This is the fact. If I say this in public, many administrators of many mathams will start attacking me. But this is the fact. But the perception of the masses is completely opposite to this. They think our Swamiji and our matham is doing doing great, and culture is being preserved and Vedas are being preserved. But I have visited at least 800 pathshalas in the last year. My job is full-time job is to visit the pathshalas only. That on the basis of that experience, I'm saying this. When I talk to the Swamijis, many Swamijis, I don't want to name them. When I sit and talk to them, you people invite many big scholars and honor them with shawls and golden rings and all, give them certificates, honor them. But you yourself don't create such scholars in your matham. Why? So they say our administrators don't listen to us. This is the condition in mathams.
So, can we come to the conclusion?
Yes, I will come to that conclusion. So why this is happening is, the first thing is there is no social status and there is no patronage. As I said, it takes at least 12 to 15 years to learn the Shrauta and all. But the dropout of Veda Pathshala, he might have not even started the Vedic studies, comes to city and becomes a temple priest and earns in lakhs. So it seems easy for people. So students keep dropping out from the Veda Pathshalas and all. As I said, no mathams, no big spiritual organization, no university, no government institution is producing Shrauta scholars. Government universities are spending thousands of crore rupees, but they are not able to produce one Shrauta scholar. Today we have one team in Mattur, one team in Kumbakonam, one team in Satara, one team in Kanchipuram. Like that, we have only 6 to 7 teams, Mattur and all, 6 to 7 teams are there who can perform Shrauta Yajnas. And all of them have studied under their fathers. So no matham, no university, no institution is producing Shrauta scholars because they don't want to and they don't know how to do it. Because Vedic studies are properly Pitru Parampara. It is done in a Pitru Parampara only. Therefore, for father is possible to train his son as a Shrauta scholar. Therefore, but fathers are not interested because there is no social status for his son. So we have to change the social status of these Shrauta scholars. Then only fathers will start teaching their sons. Here I will conclude my talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dattaraj-ji. I am very glad and proud to announce that at the Tenali Pariksha with Anjaney Sharma Garu, we have got currently 2 students and 1 more student has joined now for Shrauta. And I think with more and more youngsters joining in other places like Pune, maybe we can get more and more Shrauta scholars. With that, let us move on to Maitri Goswami ji.